Okay, so hate speech offender, convicted criminal Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Fighters was sentenced to 5 years in prison at the East London Magistrates Court. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of what happened there, and if you stay with me all the way till my biblical reaction, I think you'll find some encouragement that South Africa will prosper. You ready? Okay, press like, let's go. So in handing down the sentence, Magistrate Twanet Olivier for some reason decided to give Julius Malema a little bit of his own medicine.
The other aspect that is aggravating in this matter and which needs to be mentioned is the astronomical financial impact this matter has had on the taxpayers' pockets or at the taxpayers' expenses. By saying that, please, that is not laid at the foot of the accused person solely. Not at all. It was your right to take this matter on trial. I'm saying merely that a trial of this magnitude involved tremendous human manpower if we look at the ballistic side of this matter alone. The transport of firearms from KZN to Quebeca and back, the ballistic unit's resources and equipment, preparation, SAPs. The tragedy is that this matter has also led to so many people that did not have access to this court on several days where this matter proceeded. Mothers could not approach the court for maintenance. They could not reach inside. Grandmothers could not come to the offices to apply for foster care or guardians, appointment, adoptions, domestic violence. Those people did not have access. And that is tragic. These are members of the community this court services on a daily basis. They wake up, as you very well know, all of us very well know, by 3 a.m. Those little kids are dressed, washed, and they walk to court. And yet they cannot reach the entrance of this court for the help that they need. What has transpired is indeed sad. It's a sad day for justice if this is what bringing a matter of this nature to court results in the impact on the interest of society. And as I've stated, the courts must protect the interest of society. Not only did it affect those people I've mentioned, courts adjourned early. Our court rolls are overcrowded beyond comprehension. Inmates had to be returned to correctional services, leading to the extension of the overcrowding of prisons or correctional facilities. Witnesses who traveled from far, who lost a family member, let us say in a murder incident, they did not get closure on a specific day which was allocated to them for their matter to be heard. They have to come back. So yes, this matter indeed is sad because it has an immense tragic effect on the administration of justice and the very interest of society that is to be served by justice and its staff and courts. And that is not overemphasizing, that is a fact and a reality.
Wow, what a speech inside of a judgment. So one of the big highlights was the fact that someone in a position like Julius Malema has so much influence, and so the courts need to sort of set an example when they go and act the fool.
Every person is equal in law. What does equal mean in my view? That the court should ensure that accused rights to a fair trial is protected and that it applies equally to every individual who appears before a court of law. We cannot say for gangsters, right, there's a sentence of 5 years. For politicians, it should be 6 years. For the homeless person, it's 10 years. No. It's done in its totality. And unfortunately, the accountability on a public office bearer is a lot more. It weighs heavy than that of the regular South African person. So by saying that, that doesn't mean you are not treated equally or the accused is not treated equally. We should also keep in mind the magnitude of the offense that the accused has been convicted of. We've heard daily or weekly of children playing in their front yards in the street who are caught in crossfire, random shots fired, killing people. It's just the first time that we hear it's being called celebratory shots. And in essence, the accused, all as stated, are equal before law. But in your instance, it cannot be said that you are not accountable due to the position you find yourself in. You are accountable to members or citizens of this country, to your followers, to the youth. And that accountability stems from your position.
So Magistrate Olivier then went ahead to give the sentence.
After careful consideration, and I can show you I have done so, free of any interference, this judgment or sentence is the sentence of this court and this court alone. In respect of count 1, you are sentenced to a period of 5 years imprisonment. In respect of count 2, you are sentenced to a period of 2 years imprisonment. In respect of count 3, you are sentenced to 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In respect of count 4, you are sentenced to 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In respect of count 5, you are sentenced to pay a fine of 20,000 rand or to undergo 6 months imprisonment. In terms of Section 280, subsection 2 of Act 51 of 1977, the court orders that the sentence imposed in respect of counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 run concurrent with the sentence imposed in respect of count 1.
Wow, so that's 5 years imprisonment for count 1, and all the other counts up to count 5 are shorter than count 1, and some include fines, but they run concurrently. So bottom line, what stands is that Julius Malema has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for shooting the gun at the 5-year celebration of the EFF, and for shooting it in public, in a crowd, in a busy community, and it's an unusual gun, and so that is the sentence. As you can expect, that they obviously appealed, and Magistrate Olivier heard both sides of the arguments and finally responded to whether they are allowed to appeal or not.
Mr. Malema, the following ruling is made with regards to the application. With regards to the decision with regards to conviction, this court abides by its decision as stated on record. This court has not had a change of heart and clearly stands firm on its decision to convict. Therefore, leave to appeal in respect of conviction is not granted. However, with regards to sentence, after listening carefully to the address placed on record, in respect of sentence, there is always a possibility that another court may come to a different conclusion regarding sentence. Therefore, this court does not have any intention to stand in the way of such a possibility, and therefore leave to appeal sentence in this matter is granted.
Wow. So he's not allowed to appeal that he's been found guilty, so he is a convicted criminal, but he is allowed to appeal the sentence that he must go to jail for 5 years. So that means the matter still continues. Now, how does this affect Mr. Julius Malema? You will remember in this video here, when he was found guilty, that we went to section 47 of our constitution, which says that you and me every citizen who is qualified to vote for the National Assembly is allowed to be a member of Parliament. But except anyone who is convicted of an offense and sentenced to more than 12 months, 1 year imprisonment without the option of a fine. So the current sentence, count 1, 5 years, no fine. Count 2, 2 years, no fine. So this would apply. Now, this is why Julius Malema is appealing it, because it then says, but no one may be regarded as having been sentenced until an appeal against the conviction or sentence has been determined, or until the time of the appeal has expired. So Julius Malema obviously had to appeal, because if he didn't appeal today, he would have to be kicked out of Parliament today. So the economic freedom fighters were ready at this court, at another court, at Constitutional Court, in case this magistrate didn't give them a right to appeal. But of course, they got a right to appeal. So the leader of the Marxist-Leninist organization gets to stay in his seat for now, until when the other court then looks at it. Now, they may come to a different conclusion, which means they may end up giving him less than 5 years, but they could look at it and end up giving him more than 5 years. So, or they could just say, nah, the 5 years was fair, so stay with that. So obviously they are hoping that the next court says 5 years or a fine, because then he stays in his political job. But if they end up saying, oh no, 5 years was too much, make it 1 year but no fine, he loses his ability to be in Parliament. And the EFF is one of those organizations that rely heavily on the face, name, anger, envy of its leader. It's not like the ANC or the DA, where you could just change the leader like it happened in the DA. Steenhuisen said, I'm not running. That doesn't really affect much because they're solid democratic parties. But the EFF needs Julius, because without Julius Malema, the EFF would take a big knock. Now, all of this is happening while 2026 is coming up. All that will be in the papers is that he's busy appealing and he's been found guilty, and other parties will call him a criminal. The PA will laugh at him and say, welcome to this side, fellow bandit. However, things like this can either make someone too much of a martyr and then it works for them if people start feeling sorry for them, or they make them look bad and they lose. But the EFF has been losing in the polls, going down consistently, and so this is not very good for the EFF. And they're trying, of course, as usual, they'll say the judge is racist, blah blah blah, but people are not stupid. I think most of us do know. Don't think I want to be shooting a machine gun in the air and caught on camera. I'd probably end up in trouble. So people know this, so you can't hide everything under racism. So we are still to see how this affects the EFF, but it could almost wipe them off the face of the political landscape. So, my biblical reaction. And he changes the times and the seasons, removes kings and raises up kings, gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. You know, one of the things that happens when a certain force is in power, when you have the ANC controlling every mainstream media voice, controlling most celebrities, and they push their propaganda. Everything is twisted, and mainstream media is 90% lies. Everything is framed on what is not factual, and they get away with it. They fight for the ANC. They pretend the ANC never lost 39%, and it just seems unstoppable. It can seem like, man, there's no way that they can change. But one of the things that's happening with the Julius Malema case shows you just how subject to change things are. He changes the times and seasons, removes kings, and raises up kings. Things change, guys. And right now we are watching to see just how much this changes for Julius. And because this is such a heavy moment, I don't think it's appropriate that I let you know that the Soft Life copies are finally available, and I'll be telling you in a future video how you can get yours, and hopefully yours has a signature on the front here. But it's not the time to be discussing such things, so we'll talk about it in an upcoming video, except to say no man can serve two masters, because either you love the one, hate the other, honor the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So let's make history together. Cheers.